Everybody who has logged on to the call today. My name is Ramanan. I'm the Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission. We have been, over the last several weeks, conducting a series of webinars on women empowerment, women in education, women in livelihood entrepreneurship, and women as startup creators. Last week has been the International Women's Day on March 8th. It has indeed been a tremendously active week, all over the world because of the tremendous focus that is being brought in terms of not only opportunities, but the need for women to participate as an equal partner, as a leader in all aspects of decision making, whether it be at the cultural level, social level, economic level, or at the political level. And there is a huge opportunity and there is a huge gap. How do we address the opportunity? How do we fill the gap? Nothing better than having examples of women who have been able to rise up to the challenge, grab the opportunity, and be able to fill the gaps and address what seems to be impossible for many women who think that this is not their cup of tea. So it has been a wonderful journey along with FICCI FLO. FICCI FLO is the FICCI Ladies organization headed by Dr. Maloo Natrajan. And she has been the pioneer, the anchor behind a major movement of trying to ensure that women in India are recognized through the initiatives that they have taken, as well as through the rest of the community. And we have, and she will talk a little bit more about the women's startup recognition that was initiated by FICCI and which concluded last week. But this is one of the 4 webinars that we have been conducting over the last several weeks on this particular subject. I have to personally say that I come from a family where women play a very important part. I'm surrounded by women in my house, my wife, my 2 daughters, my mother-in-law. But more importantly, I want to narrate a personal story. When I was young, I was growing up, my mother was an entrepreneur herself. We are very, very normal middle-class background. My parents came from a small, humble village. My father came from Trichy, mother came from Madurai. Both of them did not have the benefit of great education for various reasons, mostly financial. But when they came to Bombay, they decided, and we lived in a very small house, me and my sister, in order to be able to give us, a good life. Both of them started working. And of course, it's always expected that the male will work, but it's not so much expected that the women will also work. And over the period of time, when I grew up, my mother also got into entrepreneurial units. Like, for example, we started making sambar powder at home. She went on to study at in the British Council Library perfumes, and we started a business. We started a business on, she started stitching clothes for various women in the neighborhood. So as a result of that, me and my sister got the benefit of great education. In fact, my going to IIT was also responsible. She was responsible because she was working for a director who asked her to get some IIT forms for his son. And when she asked, what is this IIT about? And she said, let me also get it for my son. And so I ended up studying in IIT and so on. So it was, when I look back and reflect, women coming from such a humble background, but with the entrepreneurial zeal, with the to make a difference into the lives of the family, and it, for us, because our family was a word for her. But the results have been tremendous. The impact has been tremendous from my point of view to my own life, and thereby also inspiring many other people in our neighborhood to take up causes like this. Now, that was those days. I'm talking about the 70s and the 80s. We are talking about 2020 now, and the world has changed dramatically. And we are having technology which is shaping the landscape. We are having a fast-growing economy. We are having women being educated and society accepting that they can play an integral role. So it's important for us, even in this atmosphere. The challenges that we have are many. We have still only 16% women as entrepreneurs in our country, in a country where more than 50% of the population is the women and the girl child. We still have only about 11% of women in leadership roles in India. And by the way, it is not very different in the rest of the world. Even in the rest of the world, it is hovering between 16 to 20%. We have probably about 17% women in board positions, but that's because more of the mandate that has come in rather than society giving everybody the equal opportunity. And therefore, there is a need for equal opportunity. At the same time, women to be able to grab the opportunities that are there. And we are going to hear more from this very, very distinguished set of women who are in our panel. It is my delight to introduce, of course, Dr. Maloo Natrajan, who is a well-known figure in the industry. She has accomplished so many things. Her resume is a fantastic thing to read. She's been driving not only FICCI, but in the financial world. She has enabled and empowered women in various walks of life, not only from a commercial point of view, but also from a social point of view. And we are very, very glad that she will be the co-moderator of this particular session. We have Dr. Suphiya Khan, founder of Drumlins Water Technologies, Associate Professor and Center of Excellence on Water and Energy from Banasthali, Vidyapith. More importantly, and our heartiest congratulations to you, Dr. Suphiya. You have been the recipient of the 2021 Wonder Woman Award in STEM, Science, Engineering, Management. That's a fantastic achievement. That's an inspiration for everybody who is on there. Yes, thank you, Dr. Suphiya, for gracing this particular platform and giving us an opportunity to hear your views and your advice to all the budding women entrepreneurs out there. We have Elizabeth Idikula, who is the COO and the acting CEO at the Atal Incubator, Great Lakes Balachandran Incubator, AGBI, at the Great Lakes Institute of Management. Great Lakes has been doing extraordinarily well. This is one of the several of 68 incubators that have been implemented by the Atal Innovation Mission across the country. But I do want to say that the selection of these incubators was not an easy task. We had thousands of applications. We selected the best amongst them. And I know that Great Lakes, I visited them a couple of times. They do a very, very active part in adopting villages in and around the institution and helping our entrepreneurs and innovators to address social problems and social entrepreneurship related problems. And we are very proud to have Elizabeth leading that effort from the Atal Incubator at Great Lakes. And we thank you, Elizabeth, for joining us and gracing this particular platform today with your presence.
Thank you, sir.
And then finally, we also have Dr. Vanita Prasad, whose resume runs into several pages, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But she's been associated, she's the director and CTO of REVY Environmental Solutions Private Limited. This was featured in your story recently. It is involved with low-cost water treatment solutions through biotech. REVY Environmental Solutions is an up-and-growing organization. She's also an environmental biotechnologist with more than 25 years of experience in the related field. She graduated in science from University of Delhi, completed a master's and PhD in biotechnology under Department of Biotechnology and the Central Scientific Industrial of India. She has had a very long association with R&D, innovation, with a number of patents to her credit. We are indeed very grateful to you, Dr. Prasad. We look for your suggestions and your guidance to all the budding girl children as well as the women entrepreneurs. The topic of today is going to be focusing on social entrepreneurship causes for women. But before we do that, I pass it on to Dr. Maloo Natrajan to share her thoughts, her views on what FICCI is doing, something about the Startup Awards, and anything else that she would like to share on this particular occasion.
Thank you, Ramanan and Mr. Ramanan. And as Mr. Ramanan said, we've been doing a series of webinars together in collaboration with FICCI FLO and AIM. And week on week, Mr. Ramanan has such wonderful words to say about everyone. And I thought it's only fair that we take at least a minute to talk about him because we've never done that. But introducing somebody like Mr. Ramanan would take probably an hour. And what I'm going to share is just the tip of the iceberg for want of time. He's probably the greatest example of someone who moved from the corporate space into the social space effortlessly and proved beyond a doubt of the value that he could add given his experience and passion to perform. Mr. Ramanan is the Mission Director of the Atal Innovation Mission, Additional Secretary at NITI Aayog. And as a Mission Director of AIM, I think he's been instrumental in launching a number of innovative initiatives nationwide, and some of them include over 10,000 Atal Tinkering Labs, impacting over 3.5 million students. He's had over 100 incubation centers with more than 1,600 startups. 500 of them, or plus 500 plus of them, are women-led startups. So thank you so much for being a supporter of this. And one of the largest mentors of change network with over 10,000 registrations nationwide to mentor young students in schools and also startups. Prior to this, he's had a fabulous corporate experience in terms of being the managing director and CEO of CMC, which is a subsidiary of the globally acclaimed Tata Consulting Services. And he's had, honestly, the most successful corporate career. He's received India's top 3 most valuable CEO awards from Business World India twice in a row, Asia Outstanding CEO Award from CMO Asia Singapore, Rajiv Gandhi, Shiromani, and Indira Gandhi Sadbhavana Awards. So these are the few. As I said, there are lots more. Please go to the LinkedIn site to see more. And he's also on the board of many companies, including CSIR, LRF Committee, US Science and Technology Forum, Defense Innovation Organization, Tata Group Innovation Forum, and he's been an eminent speaker both nationally and internationally. The best part to top it all is he's a fabulous person to work with, and there is so much we can learn from him. So thank you so much, Mr. Ramanan, for this collaboration. In terms of the topic today, there were 2 points that I want to bring out, and I've been grappling with this, and it may or may not be covered in this forum, but then this is around the social space. One is about people from other sectors trying to get into the social sector, and also the silo mentality of a number of not-for-profit organizations today. If I share my own experience, after 25 years in the corporate sector, as with everyone, there was this nudging feeling in me saying I have to contribute to the society. And I realized that, I want to make a switch and take a leap of faith 2 years ago. And it's not an easy switch for all of us. Some of them have been doing it exceptionally well, but for a lot of us, what happens is we go with this mindset that we know it all when you're coming from another organization to the social space. And I work for one of the NGOs, which is into the education space, a very reputed organization. And 2 weeks into the work, and I asked the founder what his succession plan was, and it wasn't well received. So when you talk about processes, talk about data, you stick out like a sore thumb. Things have improved, but there's a lot more to be done. So I decided to do a course in India Leaders for Social Sector. This is primarily a course which grooms corporates to move into the social space. Very nice program. But what I realized is that there needs to be a change in the expectation and in the attitude of both parties. We go in saying, oh, there's so much to be changed. We will change the process. We will get a lot of, business models into place. We will look into the data. While people in the social space look at it with passion, passion comes before anything else. And when we move into the space, I think we need to understand the holistic picture of what is being done, and then try to make changes rather than jumping in pretending we know it all. Whereas for people in the social space, the not-for-profit organizations, I think they need to adapt and change to look at newer ways of doing things. For example, using technology, using business models that may definitely help them meet the vision. So there is a gap out there. There is a need for people, but there's a thing of how do people get into the space. The other point that I've been pondering about is the not-for-profits working in isolation. We may have hundreds of NGOs working in environment, working in the water space, working in education or nutrition, but there is no process where we get all these people in together and discuss about the issues, discuss about the solutions that each of them have, and primarily look at the delta that is available today and see who can meet the delta, because we may all be looking at the same points and we may be missing out in the delta. So the question is, why are we not coming together to discuss issues? One of the reasons I believe, I may be wrong, and we have fabulous panelists to discuss it over the course of this hour, in terms of, is it because we are all vying for the same pie of the funding, and we want to go meet the same set of people looking for the same funding? So maybe that's one of the reasons why it's still a closed forum rather than being an open one. So I'm sure this will be addressed over the course of the discussion. I'm going to stop here and would rather listen to the fabulous panelists we have with great expectation, great reputation, and expertise in their chosen fields. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Ramanan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maloo, and I and two of the that you I think should be able to give some answer to that is one is how ensuring is being approached and how do we leverage technology better because this is a world of growing technology and it is becoming affordable and accessible and is going to play a very, very big role in any solutions going forward. The second point that you also mentioned is there a danger of social entrepreneurs becoming so competitive because they are all grabbing the same space of potential sourcing of funds and so on that they don't and collaborate together and thereby lose the power of teamwork and the impact, more importantly, because impact has to can only happen when there is greater collaboration and people don't work in silos. So I think two very significant points that you have brought out, and India does need people to work in collaboration and in tandem because our socio-economic divide is very big. Just as a matter of statistics, we still have 22% below our poverty line. We have 44% of our country, which is agri-economy based. 70% of our country is still in tier 2, tier 3 cities and rural India. 650,000 villages in our country. 715 districts, out of which 115 are aspirational districts at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of basic access to healthcare, education, drinking water, sanitation, waste management, affordable housing, lives and livelihoods. So our challenges are many. And while there are many positives going for India, and then there is a societal bias, prejudice that still exists, which cultural biases that still exist. And while India has had outstanding examples of women in leadership positions in every aspect of Indian life, and I don't think there is any aspect that you can point out where there has not been a great woman leader, whether it is in politics, whether it is in sports, whether it is in science, technology, whether it is in arts, education, and so on and so forth, or defense, or even armies. So we have examples, outstanding examples everywhere. But still, how do we multiply and increase it? So let me start off with Dr. Suphiya Khan. Dr. Suphiya, what was your motivation to start Drumlins Water Tech? And tell us a little bit about it. And, the points that Maloo raised, those challenges which are out there. What is your take on how women, the girl child, should approach? And someone can become as successful as you have been because you are an inspiration to many.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for Raman sir. First of all, I'm very thankful from my own heart, from the core of my heart and the soul. Thank to you and FICCI and Ms. Maloo for inviting me in this panel. I would like to tell my own story, how the Drumlins started. So 15 years back when I joined the university campus, because I'm the associate professor in the Banasthali Vidyapith University, which is the world largest residential women university. So that campus is has located at the fluoride endemic region. So what I have seen and observed in the surrounding region, many people have suffered from the problem of fluorosis. And despite of so many of the government efforts and existing technologies, science or other things could not be able to solve at this level. So being as a scientist, I take this a call from my inside. One day I want to make the India fluoride free. And so during the journey, I trained as a molecular biologist, but I took a lead and I take a change that I changed my molecular biology, DNA fingerprinting area to the chemical engineering and the nanobiotechnology. And then I established the whole Center for Excellence on the Water and Energy. And during the course of this journey, what I find that many women postdocs of me are not being able to get consumed. They are unemployed, still they are getting very highest degree. And I have closely observed that in that campus that many young talented women scientists are not being able to go outside for the postdocs. So these two things has ignite the things in me that I want to create the opportunities for the women. And second, I want to make the I have to make first our campus fluoride free, and then Rajasthan, and then all over the world, and all these things. So it begins in this way. So in 2019, I established the first spin-off company, Drumlins Water Technologies. So there is a huge challenge in the academic environment to become an entrepreneur. And there was no policies are placed at the university level, and there was no guideline for me how do I proceed further in my direction. So the CRISP fellowship, or we can say that the Oxford Chevening Fellow, CRISP award also, when I went there and I find out that CRISP fellowship has came the right time in my life. So it clears my path for the next 10 years. And what I find that a professor can easily establish the different spin-off companies and could lead a great changes in their life. So there are lots of challenges, as I already you have already talked. So there are lots of challenges, but the thing is that if for every woman and all the young budding entrepreneurs, I would like to say that you must ask the deep questions and observe your surroundings. You will not cannot go further if you do not have a deep calling from your inside. So for any deep question, there is an answer. For any asking, there is an answer. So first, at a very high speed now these days. So nothing is impossible for them. Many person and many students came to me, ma'am, how can we start our entrepreneurship journey? We do not have money. We do not have any mentorship and other things. But I'm like to convey that if I am pursuing this path, you can also easily take my path. So my calling or my suggestion to all of these young women scientists and all these things, take the opportunities in the Indian existing system. And there are huge number of funding opportunities, like in the big grant is there, like for the BIREX SIPP, social entrepreneurship for the women is there. And there are lots of DST grants which are giving only for the women. MSME is also giving so many of the funds to the women. So many women do not know all these things, how to grab these funds and could start their own journey. So my suggestion to all of them, take the opportunities who are existing in the India, and do the very good science, good entrepreneurship, good innovation system. And there is a long way to go. If I can do, you can also do at a very good pace and can do much better than me. And as the Ms. Maloo is saying like that, key we are working in the silos, and I'm completely agree with this thing. So many social entrepreneurs or the women scientists are working in the silos, and we have to work together to make like a good synergy to make it more productive and more effective, and create a very good big social impact. So in my last wordings, like nothing is impossible for every woman who are listening to me. If I can go into this path, you can also do much better than me. So good luck to all of you who are listening to me. And again, thank you, Ramanan sir and the Ms. Maloo, for inviting me on this panel.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Suphiya. You brought out some very, very important points. And that is very important to take it to your family, to your team. Need not start any big change the world. Let's change. And I think the call from inside is very important. And pursuing and leading your talent with purpose, that's what he said. You would be talented in something, or you have had a background, you had the education, for example, as a women scientist, and you said, let me take the cause of water pollution and fluorosis and so on. And then you said, let me change it in my campus, then go to my state, then let me go to the rest of the world to do that. I think the third important point that you brought out, and I would say is very important, is today we are creating an ecosystem in India that is enabling women and giving them multiple opportunities. And so from there are 4 aspects that we need to ensure. One is educate women about the opportunities that exist and prepare them for their opportunities. So that is the part. Many people don't know. And in fact, what you said today, just now, has caused me to think about something. I think we will get a special interest group in Atal Innovation Mission. We have 575 women-led startups. If we create that group and ask them, that can you educate 5,000 women about what we are trying to do or what you have been able to do? I think we'll create 5,000 women-led startups or entrepreneurs across the country. And that would be a great platform if every one of you just took 10 women entrepreneurs under your fold or help them. That's going to create 5,000 impact, and that would be a tenfold impact.
Yeah.
The third thing that is very important is the empowerment part. Creating that enabling platform is one thing, and we are creating an ecosystem, but how do you empower them through funding sources, through regulatory mechanisms and so on? And finally, I think it's very important to talk about success stories like yourself and the others, so that we can inspire others to join that journey and say that, hey, this is not something very difficult. So, Ms. Maloo, you may want to ask the next question on this.
Dr. Khan, very inspirational yet very modest. If I can do it, you can do it. I don't think so. I think you are a role model to a lot of us. Also about, where there's a will, there's a way, absolutely true. So I'm going to ask the next question to Dr. Prasad. Again, would love to hear and understand your journey and also the challenges and obstacles that come in the waste management space, because we understand most people are aware of it. Most people want to do it, but execution is still a far cry. So what is your take on that?
Dr. Vanita, you're in mute, I think.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me on this discussion. And I am really delighted to talk to Suphiya. And we are always inspired by each other, meeting at most of the forums. And as Suphiya mentioned, one thing which we need is collaboration, which is still missing. I'm trying my part. As we mentioned, waste management is a very big challenge, and it cannot be solved by one single technology. Suphiya ji is working on two very specific ion, that is fluoride. There are other people who are working. So I am also trying to integrate these technologies which are there and make a big schemes which can be solving this issue as whole. So collaboration is one of the things which I really, at this forum, I really want to urge to each and every woman entrepreneur right now who is working in this field. As women, we are always open to manage waste in a best ways. We know that. That is inculcated in us from the very beginning. So we can make use of it. We can do recycling. We can do a lot of things. It's not only one stream that we can handle. We can handle any stream. That is first and foremost suggestion. You must be having a very creative idea to convert anything. It can be a plastic. It can be a textile. It can be a science. You might be needing a science to convert that plastic into a useful product. That is another thing. You need a technology and a science there also. But you must be having an idea which you can pursue. And thank to the ecosystem which has been provided to us right now, which is not there 25 years back. I really wish if I can go back 25 years. And when I got my first patent, I could able to commercialize it in the way I'm doing right now. It will be much easier for you to really focus on to the specific dreams you have. So you can do whatever you want to do, but you have to keep believing in yourself. So my first thing for the girls who are there is that, or for the ecosystem, is that we are creating opportunity for the women, but we are not inculcating that a girl has an equal responsibility towards her own dream. We inculcate that girl has a responsibility as daughter, sister, mother, wife, but we don't inculcate that these girls needs to fulfill their dreams. They have to make their skills sharper and sharper as they grow up. Like Suphiya ji is mentioning, I am mentioning, we are learning each and every day. I think every day she's doing some course, I am doing some course. We are getting some skills from somewhere to just fulfill what we want to do. We are doing our own other responsibilities. That is very, very important. But every girl has to be inspired by us as women, that they have their own personality, which they can flourish if they really fulfill their dreams. They can make their dreams true. So that is very important, which we have to inculcate from the school itself, that they can dream big. It may take some time to reach to that dream. There are other responsibilities which they have to fulfill, but they cannot keep their dream aside and do whatever else is required. So that is my suggestion. And sharing about my journey, I was born in a Punjabi family where girl education was not a priority at all. So I really have to struggle to convince my parents that I wanted to study. But I will say my father was a figure who convinced me that whatever you are asking me is, there are answers in the science, and your science teacher can answer all those questions. So that thing which he has given me a support, and then I kept on asking silly questions to my science teacher and developing what I wanted to do. It was the best thing which I could able to do. So I urge to all, not only the ecosystem, but the parents also, to inculcate this particular instinct into the girls, that they can think independently, they can keep their dreams, and they can fulfill it at right point of time. So as a biotechnologist, I was very much fascinated with the medical biotechnology. I started working on that during my PhD when I was going to the Patel chest and communicable diseases. I really able to understand what is the sanitation condition in India. And that was the trigger point where I have shifted my whole thinking to solving, using biotechnology to solve the main issue of sanitation, rather than just developing or focusing on to the any medical solution, because that is caused because of this sanitation. As speaking for COVID also, we need water, and water is really a lifeline for us. We may have any number of gadgets, but without water, we cannot survive. So my goal and my dream is to make India water sufficient and energy sufficient using a huge resource which we call as waste. So for my only motive is to change this mindset that nothing is waste. It's only one thing which is placed at a wrong place at wrong time. We only have to see a right place and a right way to use it. So that is very important thing. It may be sewage, it may be a fecal matter, it may be anything. But we have to change our mindset and saying it as waste. That is very, very important. We have to change that mindset for every citizen, that nothing is waste. And since we are growing population, we have a very huge resource of this waste. If we take this as a resource, we will be converting it to nutrient. Phosphorus is declined all over the globe, which is the main resource which we can recover. There can be a lot of biotechnology interventions which we can use to get phosphorus out of it. So I think I should stop here by saying just words that is मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है. पंख से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है. So you have to dream and you have to fly. The sky is the limit. You can fly to any heights. And the ecosystem is very supporting. And as sir has mentioned, we are really ready to mentor girls who really looking for any suggestion at any point of time. We are there. We can help them to really go ahead and fulfill their dreams, not right away. That is one thing which younger generation has to see, that they cannot achieve everything in just one go, but they have to keep on doing it. If they fail at any point of time, they should not keep that aside and do something else. So they have to keep doing that things. Thank you. Thank you, Maloo ji. Thank you, Ram sir.
Thank you so much. I think you were spot on when you said that we need more girls, more women to step up. That is what Atal Innovation Mission is doing at the school level. FICCI FLO is doing at, focusing on schools and women in general in terms of promoting them. Generally in entrepreneurship, be it social, be it otherwise, I think we are working very hard. There are lots of forums, but I think we have a long way to go. I think that was a very interesting point that you brought up. Over to you, Mr. Ramanan.
Wonderful. I think thanks, Dr. Vanita, for sharing those views. And from what said, and before next question to Elizabeth, there are a couple of things that Vanita said. One is it's very important for skill development. You have to fuel your curiosity with the necessary skill development, and there are several platforms available for developing skills because that is very important if you want to become an entrepreneur. Second, she said that we should encourage girl children, the women, to dream big. Because often when they limit their own dreams and say, I cannot become an entrepreneur, I cannot become a breadwinner for the family or whatever, depending upon the background they come from, then that itself is a self-imposed limitation, and thereby it defeats any attempt towards changing your own life or lives of others. And third, she mentions the collaboration part, which is very important because women by nature collaborate very, very easily, as compared to men. They are work less in silos as compared to men. And their communication capabilities are far better than most of the men, and so on. So multitasking, attention to detail, these are all natural traits which every woman is endowed with. So you have been, I know that your organization and your incubator has also been working with social entrepreneurs, particularly with the villages around. When I look at the opportunity, there are three types of people who have to be addressed. Number one, the uneducated set of people who have not had the benefit of education, but still there is a potential for them to become entrepreneurs and livelihood entrepreneurs. So that is one part. The second is, I would say, people who have, gone into education, but then drifted away for whatever pressure be. So they are high school students, they are university students, but they have dropped out somewhere in between because of financial considerations, or because of commuting distance, or because they want to get married, or parents are saying you have to get married, and so on. So that is the second part. Third is the highly educated women who have had the benefit of education, who go into a job, but then subsequently, at some point in time, they leave the job, and their knowledge, their talent, their capabilities are stagnating, right? So for all these three, there are entrepreneurial opportunities, whether it is livelihood or whether it is startup, working from home because digital transformation. What has been your experience in dealing with? What do you see as the trend going forward when you interact with women of all these types in and around the surroundings that you're in?
Okay. Thank you so much, Ramanan sir, for this question and for the limelight on this issue, and that in itself is going to contribute to this growth in a big way. So, speaking from the ground level of working with an incubator, I have personally seen over a short duration of 2 years, a doubling in the number of women entrepreneurs, and also likewise women entrepreneurs working on women-centric problems. And it's very heartening to see, and this is not an isolated case. I know that a lot of other incubators are also experiencing this trend, and a lot of other organizations also working in this space are seeing this. Like for example, incubators like AIC Banasthali, for example, real pioneer in that sense. And we're all called to be inclusive incubators and find out that need, which is so critical. And I feel that there has been a lot of organizations for the past several years, from of course the government, banks, and so on, corporates, NGOs that are all working in this space, all towards a sort of common goal. But I feel the incubators have a big role to play in bringing all these elements together, building this ecosystem as an organization that is actively looking out on behalf of the entrepreneur to see how we can tie together, bring together the providers of support to the beneficiaries of support. Because the biggest challenge, and from talking to some of the entrepreneurs that work with us, and just generally, data shows that the biggest problem is access to this, or awareness, because there is no dearth of support, but I really feel it is the accessibility and the awareness. So we're seeing a very heartening increase. And I think also the social entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship, it really is benefits from the multiplier effect. the ripple effect, because women entrepreneurs tend to hire also other women team members, and that creates a ripple effect with those women team members thinking and breaking certain barriers in their minds in the society, that yes, they can, solve needs, they can do things independently, they can contribute in an impactful way, and that ripple effect causes this growth. And I think that is another big attributor. The third largest, I would feel, is the immersion. As Ramanan sir, you mentioned the various groups of people. Now, there are certain entrepreneurs who are on the ground facing these realities and hardships on a day-to-day basis. But again, data shows that not all of them are able to solve their own problems because of, let's say, financial challenges. They have to focus on certain areas, maybe because of familiarity with that. But that leaves a whole other group of, let's say, urban entrepreneurs who can look at the rural, the challenges or the social problems that are around us, but need to get immersed into it and really need to understand all dimensions of it, because an idea in itself is easy to achieve, is easy to obtain. But especially with social problems, it's all aspects of the problem that need to be understood for the effective implementation and long lasting implementation of the solution. So that immersion is so important. And you mentioned the Great Lakes Karma Yoga initiative, and this is something that has, working at the ground level, seeing that impact of MBA students who leave from here having a whole year of spending all their Sundays, with the villages in whatever manner, whether it is to engage with the students, whether it is to, just understand the problems. And us as an incubator really try to tap into what are the problems from the villages, broadcast it to the entrepreneurship ecosystem for ideators to come forward and solve. So I feel all of this coming together, the people realizing that there's massive scope for this, because right off the bat, social needs, especially women-centric social needs, tick all the criteria for a great business. You have market need, you have market size, you have the ability of the entrepreneur to harness their innate characteristics of empathy and passion, which is sort of comes more easily to women, that nurturing ability. So I feel this is the makings of a great business opportunity. So I feel, to summarize, I think we are seeing an amazing increase. We still have a long way to go, but it's heartening to see that all of this is starting to come together, and we are at the forefront watching this before our very eyes. And thank you a lot for a lot of what AIM has done at the school level, at the incubator level, is all piecing this together, and FICCI alongside. So thank you for all of that.
Great. I think very, very pertinent, brought up how important accessibility is, which is very important. Women should have various instruments to be able to exercise their entrepreneurial drive and creativity and so on. And so that accessibility, whether it is finance, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is in presence of an incubator, whether it's a community innovation center, or whether it's a tinkering lab where they can tinker with and understand technology, you need accessibility to all of this. Then second thing you also mentioned is parallelly build the awareness. Awareness of social problems in particular comes only through immersion. And if you don't immerse yourself in that particular environment, your idea is going to be an abstract idea, which is not going to have any impact. And if you want true impact, immersion is required, because that's when you empathize, you do design thinking. All the fundamentals of design thinking is all about that. How do you put yourself in the other person's shoes? And the third point that you have brought out is there is a huge market for women-centric solutions. The need, you talk about sphere, whether it is education, whether it is in engineering, whether it is arts, whether it is in teaching, whether it is in scientists. There is a plethora of opportunities, and there is a dearth of women-centric solutions out there in the market. So it's a huge market potential. And finally, you also mentioned one very important thing, and that is, the life of in the social entrepreneur world. There is an opportunity only when you look at it from the bottom of the pyramid. When you look at it from the bottom of the pyramid, then you see that a minor change can create a major impact because the numbers are so big in India. Anything that you do, let's say, they say if you empower a woman, you empower a family and you empower the entire society. So for example, one woman entrepreneur in a village can inspire all the other women in that particular village to take it on and see how they can be supportive. And as you said, women entrepreneurs tend to engage other women entrepreneurs, and therefore it can have a multiplier effect. So with that, I'd like to ask Maloo, you conducted this tremendous, request for applications of women startups and entrepreneurs, and I thought that was a huge success. Can you throw us a little bit on what were your findings in all of this? I think you received a massive number of applications and you had a tough time actually selecting the best amongst them. So can you share a little light? Because I think all the other women entrepreneurs, as we go forward and launch more of these recognition awards and celebrate achievements, women achievements, it will be very inspiring for others to hear.
Yeah, we usually have some kind of awards within Flow, but this year we said it's going to be around entrepreneurship. And the interesting part is we looked at it, we didn't look at it as an event, we looked at it as a movement. What I'm trying to say is we didn't say, okay, we're going to give awards and then move on with it. So couple of things that we did this time, we opened it up to the general public. It wasn't just for the Flow members, saying that it's time to, look at it from a holistic perspective, not just within an organization. We had a very good response. We had very short time, but we had a very good response. And then, so a couple of things we did. One was this interesting awareness that we increased with Niti Aayog. So we decided to have women-centric webinars, 4 webinars over a period of time, culminating with the award. So thank you so much to Mr. Ramanan for this thing. Next is, one of the issues that most startups have is the funding. And more so for a women-led startup. And what we did was, out of the various applicants that we got, we shortlisted 20 of them. We identified about 7 prominent investors and venture capitalists, both in India and abroad. And we asked these 20 women to pitch, make an elevator pitch to these investors so they can get the funding. So it becomes, not just an award, but there's also an opportunity to get some funding. Interestingly, a lot of them have gone into the second round. So there's a possibility of getting funding as well. And third is we promoted various sectors. We had nominations across key sectors that we saw that women were interested in, be it education, healthcare, fashion, retail, social sector. So we identified these specific sectors where women were involved. What we're also doing is we're gathering all these startups and making it a repository so we can work in terms of mentoring, in terms of networking. And again, this is something, Mr. Ramanan, I would like to talk to you to see how we can collaborate. And because you have a very good mentorship program, we need to have this repository and start growing it year on year. So we have the set of people is they start off as mentees and then they become mentors to the others, like the 3 role models that we have in the panel today. We're also, so to culminate the whole thing again, FICCI Flow is an organization that can, since it works closely with the government, has the opportunity to make changes to the policies. So Flow Mumbai, I worked with one of the academic institutes in Bombay, and we wrote a paper on women entrepreneurship in India and came up with certain solutions and suggestions that we presented to the government. So interestingly, Mr. Amitabh Kant was the one who launched this paper during this award ceremony. And so he says we will take a look at the suggested solution. So that's what that was what was the difference. We said, yes, women, yes, awards, yes, but then how do we promote them? How do we encourage them in the long term and make it into a movement? So that is what Game Changer was all about. And we were very proud that, we're not calling it just an event, but taking it a next step and making it something more valuable to the women entrepreneurs.
Excellent, excellent, Maluji. And I think, is very important. It was not just like is the strength and the inspiration of a movement to encompass a whole lot of women who can be entrepreneurs, become very empowered and leaders, and who can change the way we are approaching not only our social problems, but also economic growth of our country. Because imagine if from 13% overall women entrepreneurship, we move to a 50% women entrepreneurship, that's going to make huge difference to not just the social part of it, but also the economic part of our country. Our GDP will increase multiple times.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that we are very conscious about, as you said, is how do you inspire through having women mentors? So I'll be very happy to work with you on launching a special thing of women mentors of change, because that can create a huge impact and inspire many, many women to take up the cause and let them know that there are others who are sharing that journey with them. So they are not alone in that journey. And second, others to inspire and learn from and get supported. And that's fantastic. So we are almost to the close of this program. So I would like each of you to share a line or two on what an inspirational message to all the budding girl children who are out there, who are all in our Atal Tinkering Labs. 70% of our tinkering labs are in girls and co-ed schools. And in the last tinkering marathon, we had 45% of the winners as girl children. So they are going to be the future of our country, and they are going to be the architects of the new India. So any particular message to the young girl children in the schools, in the universities, and who are entering into industry? And of course, your message can go beyond to all the other women who are listening. Start with you, Suphiya ji.
Yeah. So I would like to conclude with 2 lines. चाह रखने वाले अपनी मंजिलों को ताकते नहीं, वो अपनी किस्मत खुद लिखा करते हैं. So take a call and move ahead in your life and flow with your dreams, and sky is the limit for you. If there is a will, there is a way. कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है जिसको आप solve नहीं कर सकते. So go ahead with your dreams. This is the most important message I am giving you. Identify your calling, your dreams, and move on. You have to make your destiny by your own. Thank you so
Wonderful,
much, and good luck to each and every young girl who is listening to me. A good luck wherever you are in your life. A very good luck to each and everyone. And thank you, Ramanan sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Wonderful, Suphiya ji. What a message. Control your own destiny. Where there is a will, there is a way. And make it happen, and everything is possible. Nothing is impossible in the world of women entrepreneurship. Dr. Vanita Prasad ji. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. As I mentioned, that you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to be very vigilant what is happening around. We just cannot say these are the problems. We have to see how we need to solve these problems. There are lot many problems very specific to women only. There are a lot of problems, as I was mentioning water. I was really passionate about the water, and we are working towards that. But as we see that these are the problems which are associated with women also. If water is not there, how will we manage the whole work we want to do? If it is not in the tap and we have to go back to the same thing to get the water from somewhere, we will not be able to focus on to what we are doing right now. So there are a lot of challenges which as an SDGs goals we have. So we have to focus. Any one of that will be in line with our own dreams. I am not saying focus on to any one of them. There are many things. There are so many sustainability goals, and being girls and being a woman, you can do things sustainability. With sustainability, you have that talent to manage it cost effectively also. So that's why I keep on urging that women have to think the idea which is really economical, which fits into the budget. And as sir has mentioned, we really have to solve the issues which are for the below poverty line. And they have their own sets of issues. We have to go. Immersion is the only way. We really have to go see their problems. Like one of the design thinking class, we came to know about this hand pumps, which has been given by an engineering student to the villagers so that they can get this water at home rather than going miles to collect the water. But these women are not ready to get water from that hand pumps. There is a very good technology, but there is a social setup there, which this technology could not able to broke open. So my suggestion to you is please keep vigilant that what your society needs. It's a very local thing. You have to understand your local problem and then come up with a solution. So there can be a very good technological solution, but it will not fit into your local scenario. So you have to know about the social scenario in your place and then put that idea there. So that is my suggestion, which was very good to understand scientists at a later point. Before starting any of your idea, if you have this social structure in your mind that where you are going to apply this, not only the market numbers, but if you know exactly where you are going to apply it, it will be very helpful. And this can be done not only by just searching about that, but only to be vigilant and talking to your surrounding stakeholders. That is my suggestion. I wish all the success to every girl, and I want to see all the girls will be empowered in the next few years.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Dr. Vanita ji. Thank you. You hit that when you say a cause that and that cause is something that you will be able to see because you are experiencing it every day in and around the community that you are living in. That particular cause will give you the inspiration and energy to go after and become a problem solver instead of a problem complainer, right? And you become a problem solver, and that is the opportunity in front of every girl child which is out there. And I do want to share that some of the girl children who created solutions, for example, from Thoothukudi, one set of girl children created solar panel IoT based irrigation management system. And why did they do that? Their parents are all farmers who are struggling with this problem every day. So they have taken that as a social cause and they have been able to create a solution. So when you combine a cause that you are familiar with and where you combine your talent and be able to come up with a solution, that will go places. And when you take a social cause, there is an economic flow that will automatically happen. You don't have to worry about it. Because any great social cause has backers all over the world and they will find ways to support you and therefore it will become successful. Yeah, Elizabeth, your inspirational message. Yeah.
No, I had the chance to interact with some of these ATL children and the girls were just amazing. And what I told them when they were, a little inhibited about going to the field and talking to the potential rural customer is that they were afraid to be challenged with their own idea. And they were on a certain, they had a solution in mind. And there's that fear of failure, fear of challenging themselves. So I want this applies to all women. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself, your ideas. And a lot of what we perceive as the hardships around us is self-imposed. We are all exist here to help. So you're not alone. And, all of us here as organizations, as mentors, as founders, are all available to you. So yeah, that's what I want to share.
Wonderful, wonderful, Elizabeth ji. I think I will quote Swami Vivekananda here. He said, dare to dream and dream to dare. That is what girls should do. They should dare to dream. They should dream to dare. They should not be afraid of failure. And as the great Abdul Kalam said, the word fail is only the first attempt in learning. There is never something called failure. It is only the first attempt in learning. So if you go with that attitude, you have only success or you have the first attempt in learning, which is going to lead on to greater successes. Maloo ji, final words with you before we wrap up the webinar.
I think you all stated it. I don't think I can put it in better words, but I guess dream big and never let anyone tell you that you can't do it. As Dr. Khan said, sky is the limit for all of us. So let's go ahead and make it happen. Thank you, Mr. Ramanan, for being a support as well.
Thank you, Maloo-ji. Great way to end it. Dream big. Nothing is impossible. Don't allow anyone to tell you can't do it. And
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, Suphiya ji, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, for the girls especially, because woman has a very great power of nurturing. So there is a one message to all the girls who are listening to me: fall in love with yourself. If you could love yourself more, you can give the love to the society, your organizations, and your family, and each and everywhere else. And use the power of selfless love. You can build the organization, you can build the institutions, and you can build the very, very good things in your life. And the path will be very, very easy for you. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Great note to end on. Be filled
Yeah.
because of compassion, because of love, because of selfless acts. And what a great way of ending it. And no one can epitomize it better than the woman and the mother and the girl child. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure interacting with all of you, to listen to your words, to get inspired. And thank you so much, Maloo-ji, for partnering with Atal Innovation Mission in the series of webinars. And I'm sure there will be more such collaborations between us. But in the meantime, it is indeed a wonderful set of webinar events which people can refer to. They are all available on the Atal Innovation Mission YouTube page, also, I would guess, on FICCI's website. So do log on if you have missed on any of the webinars. There is so much to learn and so much to get inspired on. With that, I wish you all a very, very happy day. And thank you so much for participating. Be safe. This is Ramanan, Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission, thanking you once again for your participation as an audience and your ability to find some time for particular cause.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
so much.
sir. Thank you, sir. So
Thank
we
you.
wish success
Thank you,
to
Mr.
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.